Welcome to, or welcome back to, the Agatha May Detective Agency. I'm Agatha May, and I'm so glad you've joined me for the third episode of the Kadie Major case, tracking down her killer. If you need to get caught up on this case, I'll leave a link to the playlist in the description box. As a brief recap, Kadie Major and her 10-month-old daughter, River Lynn, were found deceased along the railroad tracks on January 17, 2008, in Moncks Corner, South Carolina. Kadie's death was ruled a suicide and Rivers was undetermined. The case remains open. Before we get started, if you enjoy true crime with common sense, snark, and just a little pizzazz, hit the subscribe button and make sure you select all notifications so you'll know when the next pizzazzy video drops. In this episode, we're going to be looking at the statement that Kadie's husband, Aaron, gave to investigators the day after Kadie's death, and also discuss the interview that he had with police. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get permission to post the interviews themselves, but I'll leave a link for them so you can watch them. Let's start with the statement that Aaron gave to Detective Brian Mosier. And I just want to say that Brian's an asshat. I'm going to leave a link to a recording of a phone call that was made to Brian from Kadie's uncle. In it, Kadie's uncle tells Brian he would like him to answer some questions about the case, and Brian's response was, "I don't care." And it actually gets worse from there. So I think Brian's name should be Spatula because he's a flippin' tool. Anyway, this statement from Aaron was taken on January 17th, 2008, which is the same day that they found Kadie and River's bodies. It doesn't have a timestamp, but it was taken at Kadie and Aaron's house. So I'll read the statement in its entirety and then dissect it. Quote, "This statement is being written by Detective Corporal Brian Mosier for Aaron Major due to him being very upset due to incident. I woke up at 5:45 a.m., went to work at Cooper's Point Apartments on Green Ridge Road about mid-morning. Kadie Major drove the unit that I was working in, saying that she didn't want to be home alone. She was afraid someone was after her. She left Aaron's job, and I don't know why it changed voice right there. But anyway, and then returned about 4 times, stating the same, that she didn't want to go home, she wanted me to drop work and just leave town now. She was upset, feeling that her and my phones may have been tapped or traced. I told her I just can't leave my job right now, and you're not making sense. This happened about 4 times. I told her that she was scaring me and that I would leave after I finished this job, and she was not making any sense. Right around 5:45 p.m. or 6 p.m., we left Cooper's Point. I drove in her truck with her due to her being frightened over to the Hall's house. I got out and got into my truck and she followed me home. We got home and she wanted me to leave immediately. She wouldn't even allow me to take a shower, just wanted to leave the home feeling that someone was out to kill her. I told her that I had to take care of job responsibilities, payroll, and I would leave after I finished. She was acting so paranoid that I couldn't reason with her. I told her to give me a minute and let me take a shower. Then she said, "I'm going to make River a bottle." I was in the shower and I heard her truck crank up, but I wasn't sure if she left yet. When I got out of the shower, I looked out of the bedroom window and noticed that she was gone at around the 8 p.m. time. I got dressed and drove around the Moncks Corner area looking for her. I checked the hotels but was unable to find her. Came back home after 45 minutes to wait on her because I figured she would come back. When she didn't come back after several hours, I became concerned and then started checking the hotels in Somerville, Goose Creek, and surrounding areas trying to find her. I couldn't find her and then came back home hoping she would come home. Then I knew something was wrong, and then I went to the Hall's house and woke them up at about 12 to 1 a.m. I sat and talked with them for a while and then went home, went to sleep around 3:45 a.m. I woke up at 5:45 a.m. and then I went to money, which I think was supposed to be get money, from an envelope that had savings in it, several $100s. When I realized that the envelope was gone, I became very worried, fearing something was wrong. I knew she wasn't coming back. Jeff Hall, which is Katie's father, called me to tell me that him and Jeremy were going to work out the schedule so I could continue to look for Kadie. I took my truck to the Halls and set my employee, and then myself and Vicky took 2 trucks and went split up looking for her. Drove around Monk's Corner and then met back up. I got in Jesse's truck. While looking, I overheard over talk radio that there had been a woman and a small child found on a railroad track in Berkeley County. I called Vicky to tell her what I heard. She told me that she was going to head that way and find out. I was driving towards Columbia to check hotels and gas stations, rest areas, due to Kadie feeling safe there. I received a phone call from Vicky, and she said that she saw Kadie's truck on the side of the road. Then I immediately took the next exit off and headed to Monk's corner. End of statement. So I've said it before, but I think the reason that Aaron didn't write the statement himself is that his hand was broken. He says that Kadie went to his job site 4 times that day because she was paranoid and was worried that someone was after her. But her father, Jeff, has said that Kadie came to the job site and he talked to her and that she was on her way shopping. So that doesn't really match what Aaron claims at all. When they got home, Aaron states that Kadie was afraid to go inside because she was scared someone was going to kill her. And maybe I'm just a big old weirdo, but if I was worried that someone was going to come after me, home would be the one place I would definitely want to be. It's my safe space. I feel safer at home than I do anywhere else, so it makes me think that home, unfortunately, wasn't a safe space for Kadie. Then Aaron claimed that he heard her truck start up while he was in the shower. Well, I found a real estate listing for Aaron and Kadie's house they were living in at the time, and the driveway is on the left of the house when you're facing it. The master bedroom and bath is upstairs in the far right corner of the house. So I don't think there would be any way that he could have heard a truck start from that far away while the shower was running. And this is in January, and that night was unseasonably cold for the area, so there weren't any windows open. And Kadie couldn't have been parked in the garage either, because Aaron said that he looked out the window and saw that she was gone. So why lie about being in the shower when she left? We're going to talk about the timeline more, but Aaron says he got to the Hall's house between midnight and 1. But according to Kadie's mother, Aaron was there at 1:44, and he had called them when he got into the driveway. So I'm guessing the specific time is because she looked at phone records and knows exactly what time he was there. A week after Kadie and River's bodies were found, Aaron had an interview with Jerry Merrithew, who was with the Berkeley County Sheriff's Department. And if you want, you can jump over and watch the interviews before finishing this episode. The 2 videos that cover the interview are about an hour long. So I downloaded the transcript of the 2 interview videos, and I'm not saying that YouTube's transcript software has trouble understanding Southern accents, but I had to go through and retranscribe it all because it got almost nothing correct. It even left out entire portions of it because I guess it was just like, screw it, I have no idea what they just said. And transcribing it wasn't easy either, because Aaron starts a lot of his sentences, stops, and then says something else. There were so many partial sentences, and it really just makes me think Aaron's a great big fat liar. And let me also say that during the entire interview, Aaron showed zero emotion. None. There was no choking up, no tears. His voice didn't even waver. He spoke about his wife and child as if they were strangers. He also fidgeted a lot, and he kept his fingers covering his mouth for almost the entire time. So the interview starts with how Aaron and Kadie met, so we're going to skip that, and start with what Aaron told Mary Jerry about the days leading up to the deaths of his wife and daughter. Jerry asked Aaron, Did, in the last few months you notice any kind of change or anything different thing going on? You guys had a good relationship. Anything different been going on lately? Aaron, that's what's weird because it just seems like since just pretty much Monday, I was just like all of a sudden, she just got real paranoid and, quit trusting people and stuff. Just kind of, just started on Monday and then on Tuesday it was a little worse. Like Tuesday, we went to the doctor's office and after we got out of there, she told me, I wanted you to come with me. I mean, it was an ultrasound and we were going to see if it was a boy or not. She wanted me to go with her because she was afraid the doctor was going to think she was crazy and take the children from her. Well, first off, Jerry, you don't know that they had a good relationship, so keep that out your mouth. And Aaron claims that Kadie had been fine, and then on Monday she started getting paranoid, and Tuesday was a little worse. However, Kadie's doctor that she saw that day is on camera saying that she didn't think Kadie acted any way but normal during the visit, and she didn't see any sign of mental health issues. Kadie had dropped River off at her mother's house before going to the appointment, and her mother didn't notice anything strange about Kadie that day either. And if Kadie was worried about going to the doctor, why would she follow through with her appointment? And when Kadie went to her mother's after the appointment, her mother said she was excited about having a boy and excited to show her the ultrasound. That doesn't sound like someone with a tenuous grip on reality. And I know that when someone has mental health issues, the symptoms aren't necessarily always present. But it just seems strange that if Kadie was paranoid about her doctor, she managed to completely fool the doctor she was supposedly paranoid about. It's also strange that of all the people who knew Kadie, the only one talking about her being paranoid was Aaron. He then went on to explain that Kadie was paranoid because she thought she'd learned something she wasn't supposed to and had read conspiracy theories about 9/11. Jerry then asked, "So she told you this on Monday or Tuesday?" And Aaron replied, "No, on Monday she started researching all this stuff, and on Tuesday started getting paranoid. Just the first time I heard anything about being paranoid of people was, I'm pretty sure it was after that doctor's visit the first time." And I am struggling to read some of what he says because it's just stop and start and hit one thing and another, and it does not flow. Anyway, he had just said that the paranoia started on Monday and on Tuesday it was worse. So his story changed in just a couple of minutes, if even that long. And did little Jerry Berry say, "Hey, hold all the way up there, partner," and asked him to explain that discrepancy? No, because that would take what precious little mental capacity Jerry seemed to have. And remember the note that was found in Kadie's pocket? The one that Detective Rick Olick thought proved Kadie was having some kind of mental crisis? Well, I put that sucker in Photoshop, flipped it over, and tried to lighten it up a bit. And I think it's a work list for Aaron from the painting company. It's dated Tuesday, January 15th. So Kadie wouldn't have been able to have written on it at all on Monday when she was allegedly researching conspiracy theories. But maybe there were to-do lists for the entire week that were written beforehand, which seems odd but not impossible. And I'm sure Kadie's father could answer that question. Then Aaron goes into Kadie supposedly showing up at his job site on Wednesday. Now, in his initial statement, he said that Kadie said that she thought their phones were tapped and that someone was after her. But in his interview, he said, quote, "Every time she came and saw me on Wednesday, she would say she felt like she was going to be killed tonight and that somebody was after her. And I said, 'Kadie, who's after you?' And she's like, I don't know, Satan's after me, or she wouldn't really, she didn't know." So, Satan tapped her phone? I guess that could be a thing. Underworld phone taps. And did she or did she not know who was after her? Aaron continued with, quote, "I told her that she was scaring me and that I would leave after I finished this job and she was not making any sense. She just wanted me to drop what I was doing and I told her I can't, I got my job's on the line here and I got employees I got to pay and responsibilities. I got her, she kept coming and wanting me to do that, kept coming. I kept getting her to calm down a little bit and just chill out, as best I could. And then around 5 o'clock, she was getting really kind of frantic or whatever about leaving. And I got her just barely to wait until I got done working at the end of the day. And I got my employee to finish the rest of the stuff. And I rode back to the halls with Kadie in the truck. And I met my employee there just to have some time with her in the car to try to figure out what's going on, I guess. And the whole time she's not wanting to go home. And I was like, "Kadie, I've got to go before we go or whatever, wherever we're going." Because she didn't know where she was going or who was after her really. She was just really, really paranoid at that time. Jerry, what was she getting angry or anything? Aaron, no, she was just, she was like shaking, like scared. She was scared, not angry or mad or anything. She was just scared. So I would think if you love your spouse, if they showed up where you work and were so scared they were shaking and possibly having a psychotic break, you'd probably decide that work wasn't more important than your spouse's mental health. You'd probably take them to the ER and make sure they were okay. But Aaron doesn't do that. Painting an apartment was more important. And I'm pretty sure that since he worked for Kadie's dad, he wouldn't have had any problem getting permission to leave the job. And he could have always called Kadie's mother, Vicky, to take her to the hospital if she was that bad. And why would he say his job was on the line? Did it have anything to do with whatever money issue Kadie's dad had said there was? The one that Aaron hadn't been truthful about? Aaron said they left the job site about 6 and, quote, "I rode back to the Hall's house with Kadie in the truck, and I met my employee there just to have some time with her in a car to try to figure out what's going on, I guess. I left my employee with my work truck and I rode in her truck. She went up to Goose Creek, went to Captain D's. She wouldn't eat anything. She said she can't eat because she's so upset or whatever. So I had to eat something, so I went to Captain D's. I ate my dinner on the way back to the Hall's house. We got to the Hall's house. Derek pulled up in my truck, and we got in my truck to take my truck home. She followed me. I mean, I saw her behind me the whole, yeah, she came right to the house. So, in his initial statement, Aaron said, I drove in her truck with her, which kind of sounds like maybe he was driving, but in the interview, it sounds like Kadie was driving. So, why would he be letting her drive if she was in that bad of shape? And who was the we that got into his truck at the Hall's house? And why say that he saw Kadie behind him the whole time? I would love to know if Derek was questioned about this and asked what Kadie's state of mind seemed to be at the time, but I have a feeling he wasn't. Then Aaron said that they got home and, quote, we got in the front door and that's about as far as she'd gone in the house because she did not want to be there. Jerry, at all? Aaron, no, because she felt like it was dangerous. I don't know how I might have tried to. I tried to. I just sat there and I mean, I was trying to talk some sense to her, and get her to calm down and back up. She just couldn't let go of this thing. Jerry, about what time you think it was? Did she ever call her mom on your phone? Did she ever call anyone the whole time you were together, from 6 o'clock up to the point you got to the house? Aaron, from the point I left work to go into, no, not that I'm aware of. Jerry, okay, did you have your phone with you when you were going from the Hall's house to your house? Or did she have your phone? Aaron, I'm trying to remember because at one point in time, she's like, that's when I knew something was wrong. And something was, yeah, she was just kind of something was wrong because she's never been paranoid. She started being paranoid about me and she's acting like I don't believe her. And because I don't believe her, I'm against her. And she was afraid I had called her mom and that they were going to think they were going to like take the kids from her or something because somehow everybody's involved in this huge conspiracy. Jerry, now was this before you got to the house? After you got to the halls? Aaron, I think it started when we were at the apartment complex. I actually gave her my phone for a minute, and I said, "Here, you can look through my caller ID, and you can prove for yourself that I haven't called your mom or anybody. I'm not calling anybody to come get the kids on you or nothing." She started late that day is when I got really worried about her. I gave my phone, I think, when I was in the shower. I mean, she didn't take it with her, though. I let her look at it so to prove that I'm not lying to her? Ooh, that's hard to read. According to Kadie's mother, she spoke with Kadie that evening at 6:43 and Kadie was again acting normally. And once she found out her mother was at Applebee's, she wanted to meet her there until she learned that her mother was only picking up dinner, not actually dining in. She also thanked her mother for the clothes she'd left on the door that she'd bought for the baby to be. To me, that doesn't sound like someone who is paranoid about her mother taking her child away from her or someone who's paranoid at all. Aaron said that he and Kadie talked for about an hour and then, quote, I was like, okay, I'm going to get in the shower. I'm going to pay my employee real quick, and then I'm going to go with you and drive around all night or do whatever you want to do because I knew something was bad wrong? She's just really shaking, scared, and I didn't know what was going on, so that's when I finally got her to calm down. If she was so scared and shaking, why was your dumb shower so important? He continued, she said, I want to make River a bottle. She started getting River's diaper bag ready. And, because we're going to, going to go out for the night or whatever and drive around and talk this out. So she's agreed to let me get in the shower. And she said she'd wait on me. So I went upstairs, started in our bedroom. Straight down the hall is River's bedroom, and she was up there. I'm pretty sure she put River in the crib, and she said she was going to go make a bottle to get ready to go. So that's the last thing she said to me. And I asked her again, I said, you're going to wait for me, aren't you? And she said, yeah. So she went downstairs and made a bottle, and I got in the shower, and then about halfway through the shower, I didn't know I wasn't sure it was her truck cranking up, but I heard something like that, while I was in the shower. So I got out of the shower, looked out the window, and her truck was gone. So I got dressed, got in my truck, and tried to find her. Jerry, did you do anything else at the house before you left? Did you pay your employees or you just left? Aaron, yeah, I left at that point. Yeah, I left and went, yeah, after and tried to find her. Yeah, it might have been 5 to 10 minutes before I got a shower, dried off, put my clothes on, and got in the truck. And that's where we're going to leave it for now. I tried getting all this into one episode, but trying to filter through what Aaron is saying has been the opposite of fun. In the next episode, we'll muddle through the rest of his interview and try to make sense of it. I'm going to try my best to have the next episode out within a day, but if not, it will definitely be no more than 2 days from now. Thank you so much for being here. Please like, share, and comment so Kadie's story can get out there to more people. Her and River's cases are still considered to be open, and someone out there might have information that can get it solved. Until then, stay safe and be happy.